Olá a todos, estamos cá para o regresso das Conversas de Balneário, finalmente, depois desta pandemia que nos afastou da possibilidade de fazer estas conversas em presencial. Estamos hoje aqui em Ovar, nesta arena espetacular, para falar com o Trey Moses, jogador da Ovarense. É a conversa de balneário habitual, ou seja, quem segue já conhece, quem não segue vai ficar a conhecer. Vamos ficar a conhecer um bocadinho do jogador, um bocadinho do homem e um bocadinho também do que situações mais ou menos extra-jogo que ele nos queira eventualmente contar. Como é normal e à semelhança do que aconteceu com a entrevista do Travante, deste ponto em frente vamos falar em inglês. Com o Travante não fizemos isto, mas provavelmente desta vez vamos pôr legendas para toda a gente poder acompanhar. Portanto, muito obrigado, já sabem, a treta do costume das subscrições e tal, se der, ajuda sempre. So, Trey, first of all, thank you for sitting down with us and talking a little about your experience. We always start, like I told you before, by giving you the opportunity to tell us who you are, where you come from, and how everything started to you as a player.
Yeah, so I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, in the States. I've played sports my entire life. My dad got me into basketball and American football. And then from there, those are the two sports I really stuck with. And then once I got into high school is kind of when I decided to choose basketball. And my dad, I think it hurt him a little bit because he was a big American football fan. So he kind of wanted me to play football, but he was just like, if you want to play basketball, that's what you're gonna have to stick with, and you're gonna have to, work every day at it. And so for me, it was an easy choice, and I'm glad I made it. But I feel like I wasn't highly recruited in the college aspects. I broke my leg my freshman year of high school, and so I was 6'3" at the time. I don't know what that is, and that
6'3". It will make the
comment. But at the time, I broke my femur along the growth plate, so they said I wouldn't grow anymore. And then I grew 6 inches after that. So obviously, just blessed with the ability to, I guess, defy odds in that sense. And then my junior year, going into my senior year of high school, I had no basketball offers at all. And then from July to August, I had 12 offers. 12 Division I's, and then that's where I decided to go to Ball State University, where I played 4 years and absolutely loved it from the basketball standpoint and from just being able to make an impact in the community.
Yeah. So, how was it for you growing up? You mentioned that you were involved in basketball and American football. In here, every sport starts at an early age, also for kids, but it has a different I believe it has a different importance in their life. How often did you train when you were a kid?
So for me, I was probably pretty much training every day. My dad was pretty strict in the sports aspects of stuff. It's kind of my biggest blessing and curse, because I feel like as a kid I didn't have that normal child life. I had more of like a sports life where I was practicing all the time, games, practice, training with him. So I think it was a blessing and a curse, but it was one of the things that, I look at now, like I don't know that I would have been here without him.
Yeah. So you were kind of tailor-made for this. Your childhood memories are always revolving around the sport. You were doing both sports at the same time?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and competing in both at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah, every day. How old were you?
This was from as long as I could remember all the way up until, 12, 13, when I decided to just stick with basketball.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So about basketball, what is your first basketball memory?
I remember when I was like 6 or 7, I hit a game winner, and I'll kind of never forget that one, just because I kind of remember the atmosphere of it. It was just one of those things I'll probably never forget.
You used to have, even when you were a kid, a lot of people watching the games?
Yeah, for the most part, you know, we have kind of like little leagues in the States, and so from where I'm from, we had you know, like 14 teams in one league, and you know, we were playing once or twice a week, and it was just one of those things that, you know, it's supposed to be for fun, but it was also very competitive too.
Yeah. Have you had the opportunity to interact with kids here in Portugal?
Yeah, so there was, you know, how we have like the little kids come and practice every now and then, or twice a week. I was helping them for a couple weeks, and you know, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was hard with the language barrier, but for me, I love working with kids. It's what I do back home as well. So it was just kind of like a way to bring me back to reality.
Have you spotted any differences between Portuguese kids training and playing or having fun, or American kids?
I think the biggest difference is that skill is being taught here at a younger age, and I think so your kids are probably more skilled at sports than our kids are. Not that your all's kids don't take the game, like it's not a fun enjoying thing, but I think it's more of just a hobby for us, whereas it's kind of you guys are in hopes that these kids grow up and play for like the local club or whatever it is.
Yeah, but at the end of when they grow older, the American player is usually almost all the time better than us. What's missing here?
You know, that's a tough question. I think you know, I think it's tough. I don't really understand either. I think it's kind of just maybe we have made development in weights. I think weight training is kind of, you know, a big thing, and I think America may be a couple of steps ahead in the weight training aspect, and that may help. But I think in general, like I think European teams are oftentimes more skilled than American teams, but we just may have like the weight in the athletic side edge a little bit.
How old are kids starting to do weight training in the US?
I didn't lift until I got to college. And that was probably my biggest athletic regret, was not lifting before. But I think now it's starting to happen around, you know, 12 or 13, maybe even younger sometimes, just depending on where you are. But for me, I didn't start until I was, you know, 17.
Okay. Yeah, in here, kids never start lifting before they're 18 or 19.
Yep.
As far as I know, doctors don't even recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a little research on you, like I said, and it's impossible to as soon as you research anything with your name, there is the mental health subject that you feel very strongly about. And I watched a video of you, and you said that basketball basically saved your life. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? What happened there and everything?
Yeah, so I think in a sense there's so much that goes on in life in general, and a lot of people don't have something outside of what's going on to get their mind away from that. And so for me, basketball was an escape. It was a way for me to just get rid of everything that was going on outside of life for 2-3 hours. And so it gave me something to look forward to. It gave me something to work towards, like wanting to play professionally, wanting to move up leagues, whatever it is. It gives me something to look forward to. It gives me something to, you know, it gives me new teammates every year. It gives me new relationships. I get to meet new people. So in a sense, it's not just the sport itself, but it's what the sport brings in terms of helping me escape and helping me, you know, meet new people.
You also mentioned that you had mental health issues since a very young age, and you just told us that basketball helped you with that. And today you kind of have a lot of work on that area, like telling everyone your story and the thing that happened with your friend Zach Hollywood. Do you feel like this is really a game changer for a lot of people in a sense that they might have the skill but be struggling with some mental issue, and being able to cope with that can make a difference?
I think coping looks different to everyone, but I think finding your way to cope is very important. So for you, your coping mechanisms may be to, when you're starting to feel a certain way, maybe going for a walk and maybe doing something else. But for me, like, I've started to journal. I've always been open about what I've gone through and communicating that. And I think another thing is just kind of admitting that, you know, you may be sad, you may be upset, you may be whatever you're kind of going through, because I think it's, a lot of people don't like to admit that they're struggling. I think a lot of people look at it as a sign of weakness, and I think, you know, that shows a lot of strength to really admit that you need help.
You think that there is obviously a lot of work to do in that area, but have you ever, here in Portugal, had the opportunity to talk to someone about that and to try to make a difference in someone's life here?
I've talked to quite a lot of people about mental health, checking in on people to see how they're doing. I think it's been awesome. It's been an amazing opportunity to be able to impact lives in another country in that way. And all these people know that, you know, when the season's over, they still will always have me. I'm always here no matter what. So I think it's, you know, it's been a blessing for sure.
Yeah, it's very important to know that people have someone to whom they can reach out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and on social media, do people usually reach out to you and tell you that they're dealing with something and you're able to help them out, or?
Yeah, so that's typically how it goes. Each Monday I do like a mental health check on Instagram. And so anyone that kind of, I say, are you good or are you unwell? And anyone that votes unwell, I always check in on them. So I could have 40, 50 people say unwell, and I'm going to sit here and message every single one of them and have a legit conversation with them and talk to them and let them be heard. Because I feel like that's what a lot of people want, is to be heard. I think a lot of people listen but don't actually hear. And so I just want those people to really be heard.
Yeah, so we're leaving Trey's Instagram here in order to help maybe someone. Well, we'll change the subject a little to light up the conversation. So you came to Europe 2 years ago, right before COVID struck.
Mm-hmm.
It was unfortunate, but how are you coping with everything? You come here probably alone. How are you dealing with the things? First in Bulgaria, which is a completely different country from here. How was things in the beginning?
It was tough, you know, my first year, not really knowing what I was what I was getting into. I didn't really have anyone older than me that kind of showed me the way or told me how it was going to be. But I've been blessed with having great teammates in both places I've been. I think being here and having a club that's so supportive, having a coach that's so supportive, having fans that are so supportive, and kind of a city that has your back, I think it's been awesome. I've had moments here, but I've been able to be open about, you know, the things I'm going through. I have great teammates that I'm able to talk to. So it's been a blessing to have people in your corner that you know will have your back.
Yeah, but how was it like when you got to Bulgaria at the beginning? Did you feel, how was the support that you had there as a club, as a team? How did the things work out for you?
So I didn't feel as much support from them as I wish I would have gotten. I feel like my teammates always had my back, and kind of when we parted ways with each other, my teammates were very upset that they let me go. And that's one of the things, that it's a business, and so you kind of have to understand in a sense. But I feel like I know anywhere I go, like, I make those relationships with my teammates, and they know that I always have their back, and it's vice versa. But from the club standpoint, I feel like they didn't really have my back as much as I wished, and I gave everything I could to them, and that's all I can, you know, at the end of the day, that's all I can have. But you know, it was tough being there, and not really feeling that support, and feeling like every single day was I was being watched in a sense. But at the end of the day, like, I did what I could. I was the best teammate I could be, and, you know.
How long did you stay there?
I was there from August until January.
So How was it when you left? The COVID situation was just getting started, probably, or
COVID hadn't even been really talked about. So I came back, and then I went to Australia in March, and that was kind of like when COVID was first starting. So I landed, and 2 days later, our season in Australia got postponed, and then it was like 3 or 4 days later it got canceled. So I was in Australia for maybe 8 days before I got sent back because of COVID. So that was, tough, especially because like Australia is like one of my dream places. I always wanted to go, but it was cool being there for the time, and kind of look forward to traveling.
So you went to there to play?
Yeah.
It never happened.
Never happened.
You came back to the States?
Yeah.
And then there was the opportunity to come here.
Yeah.
How did that come up?
Man, I think it was like, my agent had talked to me about going back to Australia like this year, 2021. And then there was rumors that they weren't having imports. So it was like, I think Europe may be the best route because I hadn't played since December. And so to wait until the following March, and if they don't have imports, and it's like I'm screwed basketball wise. And so it just so happened there was a couple of teams that were interested, and then here, and we felt like from the league aspect that this was best for me for the opportunity, and it was a great country. For me, like I don't like being cold, so it's not really cold here, and then to live by the beach is awesome too.
Yeah. So we come here. How were your first impressions of the country and the city and everything?
I loved it. I really did. I still love it now. I could just feel the support from the fans as soon as it announced that I signed. Like having fans DM me, follow me, like all of that was awesome. I think it's just one of those things. You get here, you're kind of nervous, but from all of our coaches, all of the president, I think it was clear that they had our backs, and I look at it now, we've made it through a whole season, and through COVID. So
yeah, you never had the chance to play with the crowd here. Yeah, it's completely different. I believe, since you're here, you only have played with crowd maybe in Açores or something with Lusitano.
Yeah.
And it's a limited crowd, so it's unfortunate that you can't feel the warmth of the public. So about the city, what is the está-me a falhar agora. What is the most interesting thing about the city here?
The most interesting thing, I think for me, just understanding how important the club is to the city. I've never been, obviously university was different. I've only been one other team besides here. But understanding that the club is everything to the city, and that a lot of people are just big fans. And I wish we could play with fans in here. It would be totally different. But just understanding that every single day, especially in the position we are now, just that we're fighting for a city that believes in us, and so it's time for us to kind of give back in a sense.
Yeah, the city is like that in every sport, basketball mainly. But so you've been here, the league, you missed the playoffs, barely, but you missed it, and you're now battling with Jogador for maintenance. How are things going? There's one game, it's one win each.
Yep.
You're playing tomorrow, I believe, the next match. How are things? How are you looking at things?
We're excited. We're confident. I think the biggest thing is for us is understanding that we don't have anything to prove to anyone else, but we have stuff to prove to ourselves. We know we're a good team. We look at that last month before playoffs. I think we lost one game. So we know we're a good team. We know that when we play the way we want and the way we know how to, we're a pretty good team. But we just gotta keep pushing. Estivemos is a good team, and they have great players, and they're very well coached. But it's just one of those things where it's been a fun battle, and we're excited to just play play again.
Yeah, the last matches before the end of the regular phase of the league, Ovarense was in a great streak, and missing the playoffs was bad, but now the battle with Esquerra is interesting. You guys, we were in your matches with Ovarense and Porto here, Ovarense out, and you lost both matches, but you played really well, and it's one of those teams which it's just a shame that they missed the playoffs. But looking at the playoffs, who do you think is going to win the league?
Oh man, I think it's going to be Sporting. I think that's an easy, safe pick to make, but I think a dark horse could be Deliverance. I think the position they're in terms of which side of the bracket they're on, I think they can make a good push, and you know they're a well-coached team as well and have great players. But I would probably say Sporting. It'll be fun though to watch.
Yeah, Deliverance plays tonight. The playoff is drawn just like yours. It ended with a great play from Joe Balseira. Have you seen it?
Yeah, it was crazy.
But talking again about you guys. So Ovarense is battling with Esquerra. It's a very interesting match. We're getting to the point where maybe the crowds are coming back to the venues. I'm obviously not going to ask you if you're staying again for the next season, but it's something that you will look forward to one day playing in this city with people watching you, the people that you just talk really good about.
Yeah, you know, I love it here. I really do. My teammate Brock, who I'm probably closest with in general, he's one of my best friends. We've talked about it, and wanting to maybe come back here one day, and whether it's next season or after, I think what I bring outside of basketball is just as big as what I bring, on the court. And I think that the combination of both is great for a city like this, who, not saying that people look up to me, but a city or having a guy that people could look up to, especially outside of basketball, and kind of inspire the youth and want to be there for the kids and everything. And I would love to be back here one day.
Yeah. So you think that this being the very small city kind of helps in that aspect? You feeling more, how do you say it? Welcome, feeling more welcome inside the community? I definitely agree with that, because in college it was that way too. Like, I was in a small city and Ball State was my city, so I feel like in a sense Ovarense is the city here and has a ton of fans, and they're very loyal fans. And so to have that, and to be able to go to the mall and have fans come up to you and talk to you, I think it's just awesome. And in a sense, I just want to inspire, maybe a kid who kind of looks at my story and is like, wow, that's who I want to play like, want to be like when I get older. So I love that. So I think this is a great place to be in terms of that too.